So today's theme is accountability. I started here. It says, accountability is the practice of being held to a certain standard of excellence. It's the idea that an individual is responsible for their actions, and if that individual chooses unfavorable actions, they will face consequences. So that's kind of another way of saying karma in a way. I also do not endorse, there's so much of a punishing kind of mentality in our society. And I feel like I wish there was more compassion. So I don't really want to go down the road of holding people accountable. You were wrong and bad and you should be punished. Whereas holding people accountable with love means that we're helping people rise to the level of excellence that they're capable of being. So further looking, the other definition that I saw, which is kind of where I was going in my thought process, that basically being accountable means being responsible. And I personally like to take on, for my life, being 100% accountable for everything that shows up in my life, even when I'm a victim. How can I learn from this? How can I avoid it in the future type of thing? So I was finding a lot of good content on 100% responsibility. So I'm just going to go over what I found. Jocko Willink is a decorated retired Navy SEAL officer and the author of the #1 New York Times bestselling book, Extreme Ownership. He says that war is hell, but war is also a brutal teacher. And then he tells a passionate story, which actually kind of brought tears to my eyes, about a situation where him and his men got, there was some lives lost in friendly fire. And they were going to be held accountable for their higher ups. It ended up that he and his entire team took responsibility for their part of the breakdown. The bottom line is that when a team takes ownership of its problems, the problems get solved. Rohn is a business philosopher, and he has a podcast called TeamDifference Matters. And he had an episode called Take Full Responsibility, Only You Can Change Your Life. He says that taking responsibility is one of the highest forms of human maturity. So let's let that motivate us to be responsible. Another podcast is Golden Mindset, and they had a podcast on take 100% responsibility for your life. So they say there's 3 things you have control over in your life: the thoughts that you think, the images that you visualize, and the actions that you take. Successful people evaluate their life experiences and decide if they need to change them or not. They face the uncomfortable and take risks in order to live the life they want to live. If you don't like what's manifesting in your life, you need to change your mental, visual, and behavioral responses to the events that occur in your life. Responsibility is never given. It's never given, it's taken. So if you choose to take responsibility in your life, then the doors open and you get a totally different life in exchange. In this podcast, they had a snippet from Oprah, and she said, "See this moment for what it is." And this is kind of like in alignment with where Travis was taking us in the meditation moment. Accept it, forgive the past, take responsibility, and move forward. And, I think especially for me, when the forgive the past, that's kind of a theme that keeps surfacing for me right now, and getting free from some heavy stuff from the past. So I just wanted to highlight that and point the dots together from last week, or the last education, the importance of forgiveness. The questions to ask if something hurtful happens in your life. Instead of blaming others, ask yourself, what did I learn from this? What can I do better? What bad habits do I have that keep showing up? What bad trends do I have that keep showing up? Then make a decision to stop it now. From here, your life can change drastically in a positive way. And we're moving on to my favorite, Brene Brown. What does she have to say about this? She says that blaming is discharging discomfort, pain, and anger. And blaming has an inverse relationship with accountability. She says that accountability, by definition, is a vulnerable process. In her book, Dare to Leave, she talks about being a great leader means to be brave and dare to provide constructive feedback for people. So she recommends giving 2 wins and then 1 room for improvement. So when we hold ourselves accountable, but when we care enough about the people on our teams and in our lives to hold them accountable for not showing up all the way in the way they want to. Also, something from Moore University, I took some courses there on human sociology and communication, and they were saying, if you have some helpful criticism to give to someone, start off with something that they're doing right first, and then lovingly give them the constructive feedback. So in conclusion, holding yourself and others in accountability takes courage and makes us superheroes. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Swara.